Hello, Internet friend. Today on Value Side, the hazelnut. I'm David Ravel. Well, the world changed last Thursday. That's the day Russia launched a missile they call the Oreshnik, or Hazelnut. Utilizing never-before-seen technology, the Hazelnut can reach speeds of Mach 11, which is 8,300 miles per hour. The missile contains 6 multiple independent warheads, with each warhead containing 6 sub-munitions, for a total delivery of 36 explosions on target. Now on Thursday, the Oreshnik took out one of Ukraine's principal missile rocket production facilities, the Mach. This plant has operated since 1954, when it was one of the Soviet Union's chief makers of rockets and missiles. Russia believes that Ukraine is preparing to domestically produce short and intermediate-range missiles analogous to the Americans' ATACMS missiles, which recently struck Russia directly. Now, the purpose of the strike was threefold. First, to retaliate against the American ATACMS missile strike of the week before. Second, to eliminate any future Ukrainian missile production. And third, to demonstrate Russia's latest missile technology. On Thursday, U.S. Defense Department spokesman Sabrina Singh reported, quote, "I can confirm that Russia did launch an experimental intermediate-range ballistic missile. This IRBM was based on Russia's RS-26 intercontinental ballistic missile model. In terms of notifications to the United States, the U.S. was pre-notified, briefly, before the launch, through nuclear risk reduction channels." She went on to say, "And it could be refitted to certainly carry different types of conventional or nuclear warheads." Well, perhaps she revealed more than she realized. Let's unpack her comments. First, Ms. Singh indicated that Russia pre-notified the United States that the missile was being fired. Other reports are that the U.S. and Ukraine had a half-an-hour lead time. Yet even after being placed on notice, the U.S. and Ukraine anti-aircraft systems were unable to intercept the Oreshnik. Later that same day, Russian President Vladimir Putin said flatly in a televised address that the Oreshnik could not be intercepted by any existing anti-missile systems. Russia vividly demonstrated that point when, in fact, half an hour after they gave warning, the missile did strike its target. Finally, and perhaps most concerning, Ms. Singh points out that the Oreshnik was developed from the Russian Ru-26, an intercontinental ballistic missile capable of striking the United States. We can assume that while the Oreshnik represents a direct threat to Europe, the Ru-26 would threaten the American heartland. Both likely possess the speed and maneuverability that makes them impossible for current Western anti-missile systems to intercept. Perhaps most regrettable is that all of this was anticipated by the leaders of the two nuclear superpowers 37 years ago. In December of 1987, Mikhail Gorbachev, then the Soviet leader, and Ronald Reagan, President of the United States, signed the Intermediate-Range Nuclear Forces Treaty, the INF, which effectively outlawed just the type of missile that the Oreshnik does represent. For 32 years, the production of any intermediate-range missile by either country violated the treaty. But that all came to an end in 2019 during President Donald Trump's first term in office. Then, Defense Secretary Mark Esper reported that the United States was withdrawing from the treaty. Quote, "This withdrawal is a direct result of the Russians' sustained and repeated violations of the treaty over many years and multiple presidential administrations." Now, whether Russia failed to comply with the treaty is a matter of continuing debate. But one thing remains. The U.S. withdrawal has put us in a nearly untenable position today. Although America, and for that matter Europe, would prefer that Russia not build such a devastating weapon, the current reality is that there is no international provision to prohibit such a missile as the Oreshnik. Today, the Russian Federation has raised a sword of Damocles above the heads of both Europe and the United States. For Europe, the Oreshnik could devastate many of its major cities within a 15-minute time frame. For the United States, much of the East Coast could be in ruins within an hour. Let us pray that the American and Russian leaders will have the good sense to return to the negotiation table we left 5 years ago. And that's today's Value Side. For all of our articles, references, and podcasts, visit valueside.com. I'm David Ravel. ValueSide is independently written and researched. The views expressed are strictly my own.